Hello, my name is Fred Moseley, retired professor of economics at Mount Holyoke College in Massachusetts. And this video is about my 2016 book entitled Money and Totality. A long subtitle, A Macro Monetary Interpretation of Marx's Logic in Capital and the End of the Transformation Problem. I imagine you might be thinking, do we need more work on the transformation problem and especially a book? Well, the so-called transformation problem has been the most important logical criticism of Marxist theory ever since Bortkiewicz in the early 20th century. And this alleged problem has been the main justification given by opponents for rejecting Marxist theory as logically contradictory. So I think it's still worthwhile and indeed necessary to continue to engage this important criticism. And I think there have been some important new advances in recent decades with respect to the transformation problem, especially the new interpretation of Duncan Foley. And I've tried to build on these advances and present what I think is a more complete interpretation and indeed the end of the transformation problem. Marxian economists can continue to develop concrete empirical analyses of contemporary capitalism without the albatross of the transformation problem around our necks. The main thing I want to emphasize in these few minutes is that my book presents a reconceptualization of Volume 1 of Capital that is radically different from the standard interpretation of Volume 1. We usually think of the transformation problem as being about Volume 3, but the theory of prices of production in Volume 3 depends on the theory of value and surplus value in Volume 1. And I think the key to the solution of the transformation problem in Volume 3 is a new understanding of Volume 1. The standard interpretation of Volume 1 has three main features. First, Volume 1 is considered to be primarily a microeconomic theory of the exchange values of individual commodities. Secondly, the exchange values that are determined in Volume 1 are considered to be labor values in units of labor time, and it's thought that money and prices are not really considered in Marxist theory until Volume 3. And then third, the exchange values that are determined in Volume 1 are hypothetical exchange values because commodities do not actually exchange in ratios proportional to their labor times. Then my reconceptualization of Volume 1 is different from this standard interpretation with respect to all three of these features. I argue first, Volume 1 is primarily a macroeconomic theory, and the main variable determined is the total amount of surplus value produced in the economy as a whole. Secondly, Volume 1 is primarily a monetary theory in the sense that the circuit of money capital, the MC ... etc., is the analytical framework of Marxist theory in Volume 1 and the main phenomenon to be explained in Volume 1. How does an initial given quantity of money become more money at the end of the circuit of money capital? To say that Volume 1 is not about money and prices is to miss the main point. The explanation of the total increment of money that emerges at the end of the circuit of capital. Then third, the total surplus value that's determined in Volume 1 is the actual total surplus value, not a hypothetical total surplus value that would later have to be transformed in Volume 3 into the actual total surplus value. Volume 1 determines the actual total surplus value, and then this total is presupposed in the Volume 3 theory of the distribution of surplus value and prices of production. I argue in my book that it follows from this reconceptualization of Volume 1 that there is no transformation problem in Marxist theory in Volume 3. There's obviously no time to go into the details, but I hope you will be interested and check it out and let me know what you think. Thank you very much for your attention.